So how is femininity defined? So online I see people talking about resting in your femininity, feminine nature, being feminine, etc. And I'm like, what does it mean? So being submissive to a man, cooking, cleaning, traditional roles, motherhood, style, how you dress, behave, and present yourself. Traits such as being nurturing, soft-spoken, kind, warm, emotional. I mean, these aren't terrible traits to have. I mean, like, they can add value to people's lives, but they shouldn't just be assigned to just women as if men don't or shouldn't have these traits. Now, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to enhance one's femininity or those sort of interests. I think that girls and women can look down on their womanhood due to the patriarchal society that kind of frames it as inferior. And they may adopt more masculine beliefs or demeanor due to developing internalized misogyny. So I think these topics may be helpful for that situation or for people who have those sorts of values or interests or lifestyles, like looking to improve their style or etiquette or be more charming, that sort of thing. I don't see anything wrong with that. Where the problem comes in for me is where this kind of implication that women who aren't feminine in these certain parameters are doing something immoral or have been misled, that sort of thing. Like, just because you're female, you have your femininity as if it's your actual identity, but the only prerequisite to being of the female sex is being biologically female. People have all sorts of personalities, energies, and behaviors. You can't really say all women are a certain way. Just because people have these ideas about women or women have a tendency to be a certain way doesn't mean that's how they actually are or that women have to or should be a certain way. Like, I've seen where women talk about it as if it's beneficial, as if it's some tool to manipulate or have power over men. And I'm just like, you're talking about something that was structured by men, and you're just jumping in that box and going along with the program. Gender roles aren't biological, they are social constructs. They are male stereotypes of what women should be. When you look at the traits that are ascribed to women and the traits that are ascribed to men, such as women being submissive and men being dominant, women being emotional and men being logical, women being meek and men being aggressive. Everything is set up to give all of the power and control to men. From my perspective, I don't see how it's beneficial to make yourself out to be so weak, vulnerable, and malleable. And like, you're nothing. To me, it sounds like it sets you up to be exploited and an easy victim. To me, it's a broken mindset. You're basically in servitude to men, rendered useless outside the home, basically a willing slave. Like a lesser human being, like men are the end-all be-all. Like, they see themselves as inferior. They look to men who they see as superior and want approval from men who they see as better than them. To me, it's slave-minded. I don't think that men respect this. I think they exploit it for their own purposes. I see people talking about femininity being nature and that women do not have masculinity. I don't see how these characteristics would serve a creature in a natural setting. I think it might serve women in an oppressive state and in a hostile environment, which is sad. I mean, like, do female animals have a femininity? I don't really get it. I think masculine traits sound more natural. I do have a sense of masculinity. I think that it's normal for women to have, but we're socialized to underplay it, and men are told to be more masculine. I do conventionally feminine things, such as shop in the women's section, etc. But I also do have masculine interests as well. I have masculine characteristics. I'm not very emotional. I'm not very submissive. To me, these concepts don't make much sense. Like, I'm not attracted to masculine traits like dominance or aggression. To me, these traits sound kind of abrasive or scary. I don't want anyone to lead me. I don't look to men for that. I would feel like I'm living for someone else, like in some weird power dynamic. I'm more so attracted to feminine traits. I'm not attracted to females, just some of the traits associated with femininity in a man. I think most people have a combination of feminine and masculine traits, so I don't know why these traits are so strongly associated with what sex someone is on the polar ends of it. I think there are women who have more of a feminine nature and they have those sorts of traits and values and it works for them. But just because that's how those women are doesn't mean that's how other women are. Some of these people, like in the red pill, they talk about women as if they know all women and as if all women are robots, we're all going to walk, talk, and act the same, and as if everyone has to be the most feminine female and the most masculine male, and turn themselves into these creatures instead of being ourselves. This is why they're dissatisfied with themselves and with their relationships, because they treat whoever they're with as if they're robots and not actually individuals with feelings. Nothing isn't all women. I have my own feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and interests. To me, people are just people. You're telling me to be something or that I should be something that I clearly know that I'm not. Maybe they do know the women that they're talking about, but they certainly don't know me. Maybe they should gear their content towards that audience, towards those type of women. Well, I do think there are some biological differences between men and women. People have certain traits and characteristics of their personality that define them more than anything that has to do with what sex they were born as. Why is there an expectation that just because you're a woman, you have your femininity? A woman is defined as an adult female. It isn't defined by any other characteristics. Femininity is just what the patriarchy told me to be, and the idea that men have of me. It's not what I actually am. Why would I have an expectation of what a woman must fit just because she was born with a vagina? A vagina is a body part. It's not particularly anything to do with how you are as a person, as far as what your nature is or how you're going to act and behave. It just has to do with what you look like between your legs. Women don't all have just one nature. Female is just a physical characteristic. It's not specifically a nature. People aren't defined by what body parts that they have. It seems like people can't differentiate between the two. Femininity is a social construct, and female is what you biologically are. You can be a woman and not have feminine traits and not be feminine.